lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on.
He missed the pit completely. He's crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Welcome to Road America, home of Week 13's Spec Racer Ford race. Here where we're seeing a field of 60 cars, a completely full grid. I'm Joe Peak. With me in the booth today is our own British invasion, Sam Ryman. Welcome, Samuel.
Welcome, Joe. Great to be here. I've never seen a race on iRacing with this many cars in it, so it certainly is going to be an experience not only to commentate, but just to watch this spectacle.
Absolutely. Also with us is the soothing tones of one Mr. Sean Ambrose. Welcome, Sean.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Like Sam, I'm really looking forward to this. I've never seen a field this big on iRacing. Hoping to avoid the carnage and enjoy the race.
Me too. We've got some really good drivers here, so I expect some high quality racing out here. But also high quality is this world-class course. Sam, I believe you have some info for us about this track.
Well, I do, Joe, and just without any stats in front of me, it's big. It's got big straights, it's got big turns, and to be more technical, it's got 14 of those turns, and is just a little bit over 4 miles in length. With it starts off with like long straight turn, and then towards the end of a lap you get the carousel, which leads into the kink, which leads into Canada corner, and we're going to see a lot of action at those 3 turns and the other 11 as the race goes on.
And to guide us around this track, we have one hell of a car. This is obviously one of my favorites, so I'm very partial. But tell us a little bit about it, Sean, this Spec Racer Ford.
Well, this Spec Racer Ford is a little unique. Driver sits in the center of the car. It's right about 1,650 pounds. Top speed of about 135 miles per hour. It is a 4-cylinder motor, 1.9 liter, and 5 speeds.
So a relatively simple car, but definitely a challenge, and there are a lot of drivers all over the U.S. that relish that challenge in real life, not just on iRacing. We're going to take you a little bit more detailed, put you actually in the cockpit with Kevin Brown, and take you on a guide around this place. So get ready for a lap guide around Road America. All right, let's do a lap around Road America in the Spec Racer Ford with Kevin Brown behind the wheel. Coming down the front straightaway and across the start-finish line, you'll notice this is a very, very long front straightaway. The draft is obviously going to be huge in these cars, and it's going to help supplement a lot of passes. Coming up to turn 1, it's a deceptively fast right-hander. The car's really going to want to push at the exit, so you're going to see a lot of guys go off into the grass there and possibly lose it and bite it on that wall on the right. Now we're coming up to turn 3. I know it should be 2, but for some reason they decided it's 3. It's a little bit more of a tighter right-hander, and the important thing with it is you got to make sure you get a good exit, because you're heading down the moraine sweep right now. Just want to straighten out these kinks as you go down it. It's going to be a long time. Once again, you'll see a lot of draft battles going on. As long as you're close enough, you're going to be holding on. The smart guys are really going to play it strategically and not constantly be passing each other and slow each other up. Turn 5 here. Heavy braking. Excellent passing zone. Use as much of that curve as you can. Make sure you don't go off into the grass. Then you got a short straightaway up into 6. Uphill, blind braking into this sharp left-hander. And it dumps you up towards the Hurry Downs, which will come after turn 7. Fast right-hander, flat to the floor, whole time, very thread the needle. Downhill braking zone, now down the Hurry Downs as you come up to 8. Another very good passing zone, very sharp corner. And as you exit, it dumps you into the carousel. This is one of the longest turns in racing, and there's a lot of elevation change here, even though it doesn't really show. Just keeps going and going. Really the important thing, yet again, because we got another long straightaway, is you got to get onto the power. Now you got the kink, the infamous kink. This thing is extremely scary. Once more, flat to the floor, just thread the needle right through it, and then straighten out these kinks throughout the rest of the kettle bottoms. This is going to dump you into Canada corner. This is probably your last best passing opportunity on the lap. And a lot of guys are going to outbrake themselves on this one and head into that sand trap on the outside. Once again, use a lot of the curb. And then set yourself up for this last little kink, another flat out corner. But once again, you got to get it just right. You can't really go too wide through there. Then the final corner, curved braking zone just to throw you for a loop. And set yourself up for the final exit for this big uphill. If you don't get onto the power at the right time, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage with this big uphill. But that takes you back to this front straightaway, to the start-finish line, and there's a lap around Road America. All right, that was a lap. Real quick, we'll give you the top 10 because they're getting ready to go. On the pole is Ade Koba Lopez. Then we've got Kevin Brown starting in second, completing the front row. Nigel Baines in third. Luca Verani is in fourth. Christopher Dam in fifth. Jeremy Boudelou in sixth. Wolfgang Rockbauer is in seventh. Jerry Burkaki in eighth. Ninth is Patrick Valente Ferrero. And 10th is Mac Backham. Now we're waiting for them to get things going here as we hear them get their engines revved up and wait for the green flag to go. Should be dropping fairly soon here. And Sam, I expect this to be quite an exciting start.
Yes, 60 cars will start the race. Unfortunately, I don't count that all of them will complete lap 1. By the way, it's Kevin Vaughan starting second, not Kevin Brown, in that green car on the right-hand side of your screen.
Apologize for that. They're getting the engines revved up now, and the green flag comes out. There they go on the first lap of this 17-lap race around this 4-mile circuit. Ade has a fairly good start, but it looks like Kevin is very, very well good on his back end. I'm sorry. And they're going to come into the first corner. Now they've got instructions to not attempt passing until turn 2, which is actually called turn 3 around here. So it's going to be a fairly tepid start if everybody falls in line like they are asked to do, and it looks like they are, Sean.
Yeah, Nigel Baines got off to a really, I don't know if he missed a shift or whatever, but got off to a really, really bad start. Bunched up the field there, going down the straight.
And they're now onto that moraine sweep, so off they go. This is where the action's really going to start and the draft come into play. Lopez has a very good gap going there, and we've got a car off farther back. I didn't exactly see who that is. Nigel Baines has still got some trouble. He's continuing to drop down from what I'm seeing. But it's a fairly uneventful start as they come towards that turn 5 under braking. I see that Kevin's really closing in, Sam.
Nassau's Travelempo was the car who was off, and he has damage, and we got a spin in the top 10 there. Jerry Burkaki is off down in turn 5, but amazingly, all 60 cars started the race from the grid, and we've only had 2 incidents so far, Joe.
Good to see that. Good, clean driving at the start here. And let's hop back up to the front here real quick. Ade seemed to have a bit of a contact trouble.
Oh,
Crash!
Yeah, we got a crash.
David Grassi, and there's another car in the wall there.
And that is all the way back down in the mid-pack.
Luca Agretti is the second car.
It seems like they've got it sorted out. Everything is really shuffled up around there. Let's hop back to the front real quick just to see how things are going. Lopez continues to hold that gap with Kevin Vaughn having Nigel. I'm sorry, that's not Nigel behind him. Who is that in third place currently? That is Luca Verani, actually, who's closing up under the draft as they head towards Canada Corner. This is the sort of battles that we're expecting to see all race, Sam, with the draft having a huge effect on these cars.
Especially coming down into Canada Corner. That's one of the longest straights there, although it's not exactly straight. Kind of reminds you of the old Nürburgring a little bit. And so a lot of people are going to draft the car in front of them, then make a move into Canada Corner. So far, through about the top 20, they're all single file. As a matter of fact, the field does look a bit strung out, although at the back of the pack, they're going 2 by 2, beginning in the battle about 30th position.
I see that these second, third, and fourth, and that's Kevin Vaughn, Jeremy Boudelou, and Luca Verani all together have been kind of holding on as the leader starts to pull away there. And everyone's kind of just settling in, it looks like, which I'm very glad to see everybody take sort of a smart, long-term look. This is going to be a race that lasts maybe about 45 minutes, so 1 lap in, there's really not too much to fight for, especially with how the draft is going to mix things up continuously as it goes on. So as these guys sort themselves out, let's look down a little bit. I see 2 cars off. That is Mark Backham, and then Christopher Dam also went off too. Christopher's losing a position to Wolfgang Rockbauer, who slots himself up into 6th or 7th place, it looks like there. Ooh, continue to get very close in front of them. Mark Backham really getting close to Patrick Valente Ferrero, and they're going to go 3 wide down the backstretch, Sam.
Yes, they are. As they come down into turn 5, we saw a car lose it here last lap. I'm also watching the battle up front. There's a battle for the lead. Down the inside of Ade Lopez comes Kevin Vaughan. That green number 26 car. Will he take first position away, or will he outbrake himself? No, he's got it. And they've got a 4-car train for the lead. And they're 3 wide for 5th. And somehow they all get through turn 5, Joe.
Just goes to show you the level of skill that these guys can race so close in these cars and still hold on. There's a little bit of a tap on Mark Backham from Wolfgang, so obviously anxious to get up there. In fact, I see that Patrick now has Mac Backham, not Mark. I was mispronouncing that. Had him all over the back of him, but he decided to back out as they came through the hurry downs. Gets right up on the rear end of that car once again, so obviously he seems to be much better under braking, Sean.
Yeah, he does. There is really a battle going on here. We've got about 8 cars here just bunched up, coming through the turn, and it looks like anybody's race right now. More than 8 cars, like 10 cars, just nose to tail. Really exciting. A little loose, tires are still getting heat in them, but quite a race so far.
And Wolfgang Rockbauer he got slowed up through the kink there.
Battle for the lead heading into Canada corner. Ade Lopez wants it back down the inside of Kevin Vaughan, and there will be no lead change officially at the line, but Kevin may even lose second as Luca Varani takes a look to the outside, but gives in.
I'm sorry, we have an accident. Patrick Valente is off, and then I believe there was a few more cars. We're going to replay on that. Kevin Riley's got involved in that.
Dominic Brennan was also involved, and he went for a heck of a tumble.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars.
And there's also a big crash heading out of a kink on the way down to Canada corner. At least 5 cars involved in this. Radu Costin, Robert Simpkins, and a couple others.
And the lead's changing hands one more time. It looks like Lopez and Vaughn are once more going at it as Vaughn takes back the lead in that green and light green car. So these two are really going at it. I'm surprised that they're not going to try and get themselves a little bit of gap and try to get away from people, because I have a feeling that mid-pack is going to start to catch up to these 4 that are battling it out so much, Sean. All right, so we have some information on drivers who are out. I see that Amjad Yaman is out of his car. Let's see. Zachary Rivard is out. Dominic Brennan is out. Kevin Riley is out. Christian Crosa is out. We have at least what looks like half a dozen or more cars who are out after that accident. Huge pileup. We'll try and get you an official list a little bit later on as things start to sort them out. And Kevin Vaughn is all the way back into 4th now, Sam.
Yeah, these 4 cars are all over each other up front here. One thing I don't think we actually mentioned through all the action is that this is 17 laps. They're only on lap 3 now, so they'll have 14 to go at the end of it. Unfortunately, we did see 2 big pile-ups around Canada corner last lap, so the field has been reduced inside from 60 cars, and it looks like it's a 4-hole race for the lead right now, Joe.
Sergio Paramo and Adam Bradshaw collide in turn 3.
So more action going on farther down the field. Trevor Mack, I see, is the first one after that top 4, currently holding on to 5th, so he's apparently survived all the chaos and worked himself up. Sergio Alvarez is not too far behind, and then he's got Christopher Dam right behind him, and that is for 6th and 7th right now. Christopher seems to have a pretty good hold on him, Sam, and I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to make a move as they come towards Canada corner.
No, I'm watching that. I'm also watching the battle for the lead changing hands again as Luca Varani loses it to Ade Lopez. So Ade Lopez goes back up to the front, those 4 changing. But like you say, a battle for 6 as well. Actually not a bad old Christopher backs out of it and lets Sergio Alvarez retain that 6th position, Joe.
Well, let's hold on to this front pack then, since they seem to continue to go at it. I would have figured that they'd maybe just kind of hold on to each other and start to work their way away from everyone. But maybe they're attempting a slingshot. I mean, it's hard to tell, Sean.
They could be. Just an update on our own Kevin Brown. He seems to be making pretty good progress. He's in 12th. riding in about a 6-car pack right now, kind of in the middle. They seem to be running pretty consistent lap so far, and I look to him to be a factor maybe to get a top 10 here.
Well, lead change once again. Jeremy Bouteloup all the way up from what I believe was third place. Draft really helped him there, and he goes on by Lopez on the inside of turn 1 quite cleanly. Lopez has no answer on this short straight, but I'm pretty sure he's going to come back at him once more. Right now behind him he has that's Kevin Vaughn in third and Luca Verratti in fourth at the moment. It's probably going to get mixed up all over once again as Lopez once again has the draft heading towards the inside on the Moraine sweep. Bouteloup's going to lose it once more, Sam.
Yes, Bouteloup, who is, I believe, a DWC driver, losing it to a Day Lopez again. And as long as these drivers don't collide into each other, Joe, I think they can afford to do this because they have. So, a Day getting a little bit tail happy out the turn there. Jeremy thought about taking advantage, but a Day in his white number 34 car remains out front. But yeah, they have several seconds over Trevor Mack, who's in fifth. And by the way, Joe, Trevor Mack started 13th.
Yeah, and I noticed we mentioned Kevin Brown earlier. He started 26th, I believe, so all the way up 13th last time by the line. He's made a hell of a lot of progress. Bouteloup running in that red and white and blue car up at the front. Must be some French colors, I'm assuming. I'm not exactly sure of his nationality, but doing an excellent job. I haven't raced much with him, but Verratti, Lopez, Vaughn, these guys are all top guys. I've driven against them in the SRF plenty of times. They're really showing why they are always winning races up at the front. Currently, Bouteloup is in second, under threat from what looks like Kevin Vaughn behind him.
I'm just going through the field here, Joe, to see if there's any more torn-up cars. It looks like it's been a relatively quiet couple of laps the last times around as the battle for the lead continues. Jeremy retaking the lead. This is only lap 4 of 17. But, Sean, really, these four drivers just seem to be having a lot of fun up here in this lead pack.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, they really...
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, well, they really seem to have just kind of pulled away from everybody, checked out on the field, and are having their own little race right now. Very impressed, though. They've been able to make several moves on each other, and have done it with a lot of grace without any trouble.
At this point, I'm fairly certain that our call from earlier that they're maybe utilizing each other, I think they're just simply using the draft to slingshot. Look at this. It's even synchronized between these top four as the two back cars pull out. And now, actually, they've got 2x2 drafting going on as they head towards turn 1. So this might actually slow them down a little more than they wanted. Lopez, once again, taking over the lead away from Bouteloup, and Vaughn taking it away from Verratti. So, yeah, definitely some tactics going on with these guys as, I thought Bouteloup was maybe going to try and bump draft, which I wouldn't advise. These cars can be a little bit fragile with the bodywork. And we got some word that Kevin Brown is actually making a move back towards the back, and actually he looks to be in quite a bit of a battle between himself and Patrick Farrow.
Yeah, he made the spot on Patrick heading into turn 1, Joe, but just lost it there heading into turn 3. Now I'm sure that's going to change again as they head down into turn 5, a left-hander at the bottom of the backstretch here, as the number 14 red and white GSRC car takes the outside line. And these drivers were warned about not going 3 wide in a race with so many cars. I think they all forgot that warning. But honestly, whoa, as Kevin going to lose a spot on the outside, there's contact there. And off goes Patrick, and they're still 3 wide, and the guy who pays the price is Zlatko Nezovic into the wall. And the battle, though, continues for 11th, Joe.
I saw that coming as they started to go 3 wide on that exit. I kind of figured that's what was going to happen. Kevin Brown really got away lucky in that one because he was getting squeezed on both sides and all of that. Real quick, though, I'm hopping back up to the front. Just a real quick update on how that battle is going up there. Lopez has gotten himself just a little bit of a gap. Vaughn might be able to pull him in still. He's not too far away to be able to utilize that draft. Bouteloup still in third. Verratti still in fourth. Behind him, Trevor Mack in fifth. Sergio Alvarez currently in sixth. Seventh, Christopher Dam very close behind. And then Nigel Baines behind them in eighth. So it's all very close. And now Nigel actually goes off at the kink. Nigel is very much slowed, and he's got another car. That's Clark Williams coming up behind him. So he's going to lose one more spot.
I want to put a shout out here that there are still 56 cars, not only still in the race, but on the lead lap. So these drivers are persevering through all these incidents, and that is making this a very exciting race up front, in the middle, and on the back. Now the leaders are coming out of a final turn. Ade Lopez ahead of Kevin Vaughan. Certainly Kevin's close enough to get a draft down this long front stretch. We may see another lead change heading into turn 1, Sean.
We're going to hop on board with Kevin Vaughan here and see what he sees from his view in second place. So let's see exactly what it feels like inside these cars. As you can see, wow, just how much that draft pulls him in. But he decides to back out, interestingly. So maybe they've abandoned those tactics as he follows Lopez through turn 1 here. Now, one thing, Sean, that I find really interesting about all the stuff that's been going on is even though they said no 3 wide, I mean, I'm not, actually, I should say I'm not too shocked with everyone going 3 wide in this thing. I mean, with these cars being so draft heavy, it'd be so hard to police because people are going to take opportunities in only a 45-minute race.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, you get caught up in the moment, too, as a driver. I mean, really, do you always know you're 3 wide? It's,
yeah. Go ahead.
Well, no, like I said, you get caught up in the moment and you know, you don't know you're 3 wide, and do you really care? You're looking for that spot.
And Kevin Vaughan takes over the lead once again, although it looks like Lopez is going back for it. They get extremely close. There was only a hair width between those cars, and Lopez backs out of it as they head into turn 6. Probably smart, but wow, Sam, that was, as you would say, you could put a blanket over them.
You could still put a blanket over them. In fact, if you had a very large blanket, you could put them over them the whole race so far. These 4 drivers have been nose to tail the entire race. They're going to keep making lead changes as Kevin overshoots the turn. Ade Lopez going to look on the outside of the carousel. That's not going to happen. Oh, okay, he's going to try and make it happen. Kevin's going to... I don't know, Joe, this is very risky. They may be able to go through the carousel side by side. They're not going to be able to go through the kink side by side. The green number 26 on the left-hand side, Kevin Vaughan backs off, gives the number 34, the white car, Ade Lopez the lead, and Jeremy Bootloop and Luca Verini closing behind them a little bit. 3-way battle for second as they go down this little straight here into Canada corner. But I think they realise they have to get single file because they can't let Ade Lopez get away too far, Joe.
Cool heads prevail once again. I think a lesser driver probably would have gone through that, gone for that through the kink. Credit to Kevin Vaughan for backing out, and also credit for Lopez for being able to go around the outside of the carousel. I don't think I've ever seen somebody do that, even at the highest level. So that is some incredible car control, some really gutsy, because he gave Vaughan, you know, a car width and nothing more, Sean.
Yeah, you know, for a second, I want to focus on something a little bit further down the field. You know, our biggest mover in this race has been Brian Stromquist. He's driving the wheels off that thing. He started in 57th. He's up to 34th right now. He's really tearing it up.
Yes, and Brian's currently got Justin Johnson behind him. We can't really discredit these mid-pack or even the back-of-the-pack drivers because it takes a high level just to qualify into this race. And it looks like Justin's going to try and get around the outside of Stromquist, with the inside of Stromquist coming around Canada corner. But now he's the outside for the kink, and it looks like Johnson is under threat from Sergio Paramo. So a lot of battles going on. Paramo's got some connection problems, though, Sam.
Yeah, and I've got to be honest, Joe, I've been watching this battle for the lead while all that's been going on. Kevin Vaughan has retaken it. Still 10 laps left to go at the completion of this lap as they head down into turn 5. By the way, the connection issues we're referring to, you know, this is iRacing, so really it's just more like an electrical issue. iRacing's version of a mechanical failure on a racing car. And if you lose the connection, you're out of a race, which was unfortunate. It can happen when you're leading, it can happen when you're in last, and unfortunately it may happen to a couple of drivers in this race, Trey.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few guys disappear from that. Vaughan continues to lead ahead of Lopez at the moment, coming in out of the hurry downs towards the carousel. And Bootaloo follows up in third with Verani in fourth. As you can tell, that's subject to change as much as a race at Talladega with NASCAR.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Sean, but I'm watching a huge battle for 10th right now. Patrick Ferrer and Wolfgang Rochbauer are ahead in it, but they got 3 cars right on their gearbox.
Yeah, you know what? watching that one too, and that is a real good race right now. And our own Kevin Brown in the red and white GSRC machine is sitting in the catbird seat, just watching it happen right in front of him.
Just behind them, I do see Ed Rice currently hunting down Christian Manzini, and that's been a good battle, although he's lost a little bit through the carousel before he was right on top of that car. They're coming through the kink now, so we'll have to see who's got the guts to really hold it down and thread that needle, Sam.
Yep, and by the way, Wolfgang has heavy damage on his car after being T-boned in Canada Corner at the start of the race. We've seen quite a few incidents this early on. Now Kevin Brown right behind him in the red and white car. As far as top 20 cars go, he has been the biggest move in this race. He started 26th, he's up to 12th. That's 14 spots, Joe, in just 7 laps.
Impressive stuff. He was helped a little bit by the accidents that happened in front of him, but you know, you got to avoid those, so it's still credit goes to him. Wolfgang closes up on the back of Faro as they come onto the front straightaway coming up that steep hill, and they're all in line with each other. We'll see how it mixes up here, Sam.
Yeah, we'll certainly find out. Some good overtaking opportunities coming up. Ade Lopez just used one of them to retake a lead from Kevin Vaughan. Here they go. Patrick Faro has no drafting help, so on by goes Wolfgang. And Kevin, is Kevin going to try and make it 2 for 1? He thinks about it, but doesn't. No happening there. Very wise move as actually Patrick runs off there. Able to rejoin the grey stuffo. That's where you want to be. Kevin Brown also being challenged now by Christian Manzini. Haven't mentioned his name a whole lot today. Down the inside of that red and white car. Wolfgang gives up. Patrick Faro able to retain. And right now, Kevin, unfortunately for him, Joe, is being shuffled back a little bit.
And we're on board with Kevin, and you're seeing some damage on the back of Manzini. That actually came in the previous corner between him and Rice. He got a little bit of a tap, and Kevin got pushed all the way to the grass by Manzini there. But a brave man stays with his foot to the floor and still able to outbrake Manzini through the corner. It looks like he's going to have it cleanly if he can just get this exit. Manzini's a little bit better. He's going to take a look on the inside of 6. Is he going to be able to outbreak him? Nope, decides to the better of it. Ahead of them, we've got a bit more of a battle going between Rockbauer and Faro. Faro gets out ahead of them, and now Brown is looking on the inside of Wolfgang, but nothing doing through that fast kink, Sam.
Yeah, and we've just had a new observation from our spotter, Tonellis, up front here. While this battle for first through fourth has been going on, Ade Lopez, as far as qualifying goes, it would suggest that he's the fastest driver, is in the lead, and he has a gap on the other drivers. So the others, Kevin Vaughan, Jeremy Bootloop, and Luca Varani, are really going to have to work together here, Joe, if they want to stay on with the draft of Ade Lopez and not let him run away with this race.
And while we continue to watch this battle for second through fourth and for them to try and catch up to the leader, real quick, I wanted to mention, we keep mentioning Kevin Brown. He's one of the leaders in this SRF community that helps all these drivers and tries to make sure that more guys have opportunities to reach the level of this high-class race that we have. He posts race guides, or not race guides, lap guides, I should say, in the SRF, and really helps guide you around in the baseline setup. So it's not that, he teaches you how to be fast without having to really be able to tinker with the car too much and get you around this course really hustling the car. But I'm watching Kevin Vaughan right now at the moment. Bootaloo closes up under draft on the first corner. It looks like he's got nothing doing. So all these guys are kind of staying in line. It looks like they're taking your advice, Sam, just trying to hold on to each other and work themselves a little bit closer to Lopez.
They have to, Drew. They have to. And by the way, Ed Rice spun around a couple moments ago. He was running in the top 10. Contact between Patrick Faro and Wolfgang Rochbauer heading down into turn 1. They were going 130 miles an hour there, and in these light cars and at a speed such as that, slight contact like that could really lead to ugliness. Kevin Brown cuts off Christian Manzini. I have a feeling this may end in tears, unfortunately, Joe.
Well, it was kind of a chain reaction because Faro cut off Brown as well, so he kind of had no place to go, had to get out of the way. Faro currently hunting down Rockbauer as they come down the moraine sweep, and it looks like Rockbauer has the inside, though, so is Brown going to try and get in the mix of this? They're all holding very close to the inside. Now they sweep back to the outside for that heavy braking under 5. Rockbauer backs out of it, interestingly, and Brown gets backed up as well, and it looks like they're slotting back in the line. Is anybody going to try and make a move into 6, Sam?
Well, we'll find out. Meanwhile, the pack at front has reformed with all 4 drivers there. And let's go back and have a look at this 4-way battle with Patrick leading. So far, looks like they're all still single file. But also, Joe, something that these leaders are going to have to deal with soon is lap traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even though the lap times were very close on qualifying, these guys will probably be running into lap traffic at some point in time, I have to imagine. And actually, I'm looking at Lopez, and he's got Kevin Vaughn all the way caught up to him already. So those guys made short work of that gap that they had to get. I'm looking up and a little bit ahead of the way. Looks like Arn Kramer is the first lap car that I'm seeing at the moment. In fact, he scored in 50-30. He's the last car in the lead lap right now. So yeah, you're right. They're going to be running into other people, and that's really going to spice things up. Now, Sean, I'm sorry we haven't really talked to you a whole lot. Have you spied any action a little farther down the field?
Well, I want to bring something up here that I'm finding very curious. Is anyone surprised by the quiet and steady race that Dan Rash is having right now? Steady in 8th place, and nobody's around him.
I think that's the way that Dan Rash likes to drive, considering how we've seen him drive recently in the CESCS. So I mean, I'm not surprised at all, and he's really making good work of the fact that he's by himself, which actually, you know, that can kind of hurt you, I have to say, Sean, because you have no drafting partner, so you're technically losing time on some of the guys ahead of you, possibly.
Kevin Vaughan looking down the inside of a day here, but they're all being very cautious about it as this battle for first is rejoined. However, and we'll go back to Sean in a moment, I'm just going to put my 2 cents in here. I don't think you want a day to have the lead, because if he runs away with it again and you lose the draft, it could be game over. But back to you, Sean.
Well, I'm moving back. You know, there's still a really good 3-way battle going back here for 12th, 13th, and 14th. Andrew Taylor and Canada and Manzini are still battling it out back here. It seems like they've been stuck together for the whole race so far, honestly.
There's been a number of battles like that I've seen, as well, as Kevin Brown gets overtaken by Rockbauer coming down the Moraine Sweeper. And it looks like there's not going to be much opportunity for those guys unless they break very late into 5. And yeah, everybody stays in line wisely. But to touch on what you were saying earlier, Sam, you know, these guys definitely, I think it would behoove them to maybe be a little bit cautious. Yeah, you can try and make some slingshot passes throughout the race, but really the gloves aren't going to be off until lap 17, because everyone's going to be trying to snipe everybody else, and that's when we're probably going to see a number of wrecks, if we're going to be honest.
And that's where you're going to want to be in 5th place, honestly, and that's the position that Christopher Dam finds himself in right now. Credit where credit's due. Christopher was the fastest driver in practice and was 5th fastest in qualifying. So despite the fact that he's not in this lead pack, do not count this blue and orange number 935 car out of the race just yet, Joe.
And he's got Trevor Mack behind him. Trevor is a pretty fast character himself. We see him a lot in the Blondie series. He's usually up towards the front of the pack, maybe not for the lead, but top 10. And that series in itself is sort of like this, in that you got some of the best drivers in the world in the MX-5 fighting against each other. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me, because they're somewhat similar cars, even though they drive a little bit differently, but underpowered, and Trevor Mack seems to favor them.
Meanwhile, the leaders are catching up with Arne Kramer, who has already pulled to the side and backed off, but they're side by side in battle for the lead behind. They go 3 wide on the front stretch as they go by Arne. They have about a 10 to 20 second gap in front of him before they catch the next set of lap cars. So the lead pack able to stay together, except for Luca Varani is falling back a little bit. What battle are you watching around here, Sean?
I'm watching that battle right now for 12th, 13th, and 14th, and Manzini back in front, but Patsy Canada making a move to the inside, coming down to turn 1, and it looks like he's going to get it. Back in 12th place. They are just back and forth through this whole course.
Crash on the front stretch between Robert Lathrop and Kenny Coughlin. How there weren't more cars involved, because they were in the 4-car pack. It's a 2-car collision, and that's the first major accident we've seen in a little while, Joe. It really has been a semi-clean race.
Yeah, and looking at the replay, it looks like Lathrop just got into the side of, who is that? Actually, I'm sorry, that was Lathrop who was hit by Kenny Coughlin. Coughlin got inside of Lathrop. So that was just a little bit too close a racing. I'm not sure if he was trying to get a side draft or what between those guys. Unusual and disappointing, to be honest, to see a wreck like that on the front straightaway. I think these guys need to give each other just a little bit more respect out on the track.
Patsy and Canada are still battling it out. Every turn they're switching. Here we go. Canada back to the inside. Taylor on the outside, and position is changing once again at another turn. They're coming up to the next turn, and here comes Taylor back to the inside. It's an incredible battle going on back here.
Well, I'm watching Frazier behind them, Michael Frazier in that blue and orange car. He's being very smart watching them battle. He definitely has the pace on them because he keeps slowing up for these guys. I think he knows that he really just needs to find the right opportunity for them to really catch each other out so that he can get ahead and maybe just blast on by and not let them a chance to catch on onto his draft.
Yeah, he's definitely running the smart race right now for sure.
Lead train Jade Lopez back to the front as they come around here to complete lap 11. 6 laps left to go. And it does look like a 4-car pack has reformed with Luca Varani back in 4th position right on their tail, Joe.
These guys really just haven't had any break from each other the entire race. I'm starting to wonder if they don't want it any other way because they sure seem to like each other. They're giving each other a lot of respect, as we mentioned. We currently just completed lap 11. We're on lap 12 as Vaughn once again looks on the inside of Lopez. And what I find interesting in all this is that it's been kind of Vaughn and Lopez as now I eat my words because Bootaloo is trying to get into it. And yeah, now Bootaloo's got the inside of Lopez, so he's trying to shuffle himself up in a second. But it seems like Varani and Bootaloo have been kind of 3rd and 4th, and Lopez and Vaughn have been 1st and 2nd, but that's changed now, so much for that theory.
Meanwhile, I'll just add this tidbit in. There's a great 5-way battle going on for 22nd position right in the middle of the pack, and it almost came to blows there with Minus, Citrus, and JB Masida making contact with each other. By the way, JD has moved up 25 positions from his starting spot. He started 47th, he's now in 22nd. Back to you, Joe.
Yeah, I'm still on that battle up at the front, actually, because Lopez was not giving up whatsoever on Bootaloo, and Bootaloo's now back into 3rd. So Lopez does seem to have the pace, as you mentioned before. He really is able to get by some of these guys and hold back that 2nd and 3rd place, or 3rd and 4th place, I'm sorry, despite the fact that they're really holding on quite well throughout the race, Sam.
Yeah, I'm still watching this battle for 22nd, which just ended with Jasper Groeneweg going off in turn 1. But yeah, like I say, I mean, these top 4 cars are just biding their time, and really the one rule they have is do not let the leader break away. If they can remain a 4-car pack until the final lap, it's anyone's race, Joe.
Absolutely, and it's odd that Jasper went off. He seemed to have some connection issues, and I didn't see him close to anybody else, so I don't know. We're getting word that he actually got pushed off, so that's weird. I'll have to figure out what exactly went on. Maybe we can get him into the booth afterwards. Meanwhile, back up at the front, Vaughn continues to lead with Lopez close behind coming into Canada corner. We've got 5 laps to go, Sam, so it's starting to wind down. Guys are going to get anxious soon, I imagine.
Well, 5 laps at a 4-mile circuit is still a long time, Joe. That's, 20 miles? That's my drive to work and back for about 2 or 3 days after each other. One thing they're going to have to pay attention to, though, is these damaged cars from these random incidents we've been seeing leaving pit road means they're going to have more lap traffic eventually. Anyhow, plenty of battles going on out here. Sean, which ones are you watching?
Rockbauer and Baines are going at it right now. And Kevin Brown right there watching. But Rockbauer was just all over Baines and couldn't make a move on him. So now he's trying to take him here into the turn, and he's backing off a little bit. But still a nice 4-car battle going there for a 8th through 11th position.
Yes, these guys are another one that really haven't been able to get away from one another very much, if at all, for this entire race. So it's been a great battle. And it's worth noting that really this thing is for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So as we see Rockbauer once again slip himself up the inside into turn 1 and is able to overtake Baines. It looks like Brown wants a bit of that too and pushes Baines all the way to the outside into the grass. And Baines gets it back onto the grass without incident, so good car handling from him. But now he's under threat from Manzini, who just goes clean past into 3. Wow, that was unexpected, Sam.
Yeah, and another thing unexpected was these drivers in the battle for the lead really beginning to race a little rough there. I thought they were about to have an incident going down into the bottom of the hill there. Kevin Vaughan comes out with the lead, Jeremy Bootloo in 2nd, Ade Lopez 3rd, and Luca Varani in 4th. Christopher Dam 5th, Trevor Mack 6th, Clark Williams 7th, and in 8th place is Dan Rash. Kevin Brown is now up into 9th place as this battle continues with Wolfgang Rochbauer rounding out the top 10, Joe.
Also, a little side note, Jasper was hit in the rear by Chuck Johnson. That was the word we're getting from our sponsors. Or, not our sponsors, our spotters. Yeah, so that's exactly what happened with Jasper there. Yeah, it's actually Vaughn. I'm looking up at the lead. He's stepped away just a little bit from what we've seen with Lopez being pulled in. I don't think he's far enough away to be able to hold on to that gap, as Lopez is currently on the back of Bootaloo coming down that Kettle Bottoms straightaway. Not straightaway, we should say, up towards Canada Corner. Bootaloo is under threat on the inside by Lopez, and Lopez cleanly outbrakes him as Bootaloo slots into place, and just 2 wheels off from Vaughn there, and they're already up on the back of him, Sean.
Yeah, and Kevin Brown's gotten by Rockbauer and up to 10th place in that red and white GSRC machine. Rockbauer coming around, trying to make a move on the outside in that blue and yellow machine, and he's winning the drag race. Yeah, and he's going to make it to the corner. Rockbauer takes that position back, but Kevin holds steady, and he's staying with him. Rockbauer's off the course. He's off, but he's back on.
I was going to say, it looked like Brown just backed out of that, and Rockbauer outbraked himself in the meantime, so it's a combination of things with that sudden change in speed. Brown's holding on to it. He's racing very smart today. Rockbauer looking a little bit anxious, but doing good to be able to get back up to the front of this pack at the moment. Currently, Brown is under threat from Manzini, who's very close, so that draft is going to pull him in and probably give him a good slingshot up the inside, Sam.
Yeah, Day Lopez and Kevin Vaughan almost making contact there in turn 1, but didn't happen, and all that happens as consequences. Day is our new leader, and Kevin is back to 2nd. Joe, there is less than 4 laps left to go. It's beginning to get a little antsy up front now.
Yes, as you mentioned, we're on lap 14, and they're going 2 by 2 once again, coming out of position, synchronized yet again as Vaughn slips up the inside, and now Varani is going to try and take Lopez, but he backs out before turn 5.
Rockbauer just spins, and Kevin collects him. Oh no, and they're off the course.
Let's check out the replay of that and see what exactly went down. It looks like Rockbauer was looking on the inside of Manzini. Just a tip of that car spun him around, and Brown just took a clip, and it looks like the winner in all of this is Nigel Baines possibly. No, actually Manzini came out the best, but Baines certainly capitalized, taking 2 positions in 1 corner there, Sam.
Yeah, I'm just watching Kevin Brown because he's actually rejoined in about 10th or 11th spot right now. Looks like his car's handling okay, but I don't think it's got the straight line speed that it used to have. So it looks like, he might still be able to salvage the top 10, but he's not going to be having as much fun out there as what he was earlier.
I have to say, Sean, that this is honestly the kind of driving that you have to expect in these cars with this large of a field and on a draft track like this. It's going to get rough and tumble, and everybody's going to be very closely fighting. It is sort of reminiscent, we've said it before, like Talladega and those big super speedways in NASCAR.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we've kind of been waiting for the big one, but it hasn't happened yet. And hopefully it doesn't happen on the last lap, but with the way some of these packs have looked, it just might. I'm really impressed with this four-car group up front. They have really put on quite a show for everybody.
Well, at the line, it will be 3 laps to go. Let's go through the top 20 real quick at the line. Ade Lopez continues to lead. Kevin Vaughan behind him. Luca Varani is in 3rd. Jeremy Bootaloo is in 4th. In 5th, we have Trevor Mack. Then 6th, it's Christopher Dam. 7th is Clark Williams. 8th is let's see, that is Dan Rash in 8th. Then we've got Christian Manzini in 9th. Nigel Baines in 10th. Kevin Brown holds down 11th. Then Patsy Canada has 12th. Wolfgang Rockbauer has 13th. Richard Jensen has 14th. Rod Silverwood has 15th. Then we've got, Ed Rice has 16th. Lino Chestang has 17th. Then Patrick Farrow has 18th. 19th is Minas Sealy. Then we've got JB Masada completing the top 20.
Yeah, but that battle for 17th, so actually 18th, is going a bit wild there with Patrick Farrow trying to rebound from his damage. Minus Zichulis is in that. JB Masada.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kevin Vaughn had a huge moment in turn 5, and now he slipped all the way back. He may have actually lost the draft. He's going way far back, coming towards 6. He's going to have to hustle to keep into this top 4, or otherwise we might be down to 3, Sam.
I think he's got it. I think he's close enough where he can pull the draft, especially 3 cars in front. They're going to be puncturing a massive hole. That certainly shows what this race is becoming up front. These Spec Racer Fords on the edge of adhesion, edge of control every single corner, and Ade Lopez is evidence of that right there, putting 2 wheels off. Luca Varani goes a little wide. Jeremy Bootloo is looking down the inside, and this is wild up front. Oh, and there's a big crash in turn 1 right now.
Did you see who is involved with that, Sean? I don't quite have that one right at the moment.
It's still going on. JB Masada just slammed by Zachary Rivard and is upside down. But I don't know what started it, but that's what ended it.
Well, Sean, you were talking about the big one, and I think we just got it.
Yeah, that was it. And unfortunately, I missed it too, but it was a big one. There were about 5 or 6 cars collected in that.
I'm being told Farrow was one of the cars in that. That was I believe he was in that battle for 18th I was just referring to a little bit before that, Joe. Anyhow, the leaders are coming to 2 laps to go. And by the way, one driver in the top 10 we need to give a shout out to is Clark Williams. He is running 7th. He started 21st, so he's gained 14 spots, has been able to avoid all these incidents, and is looking to bring home a top 7th place finish right now, Joe.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to be made in that sort of position that he started in with just the draft and all the chaos going on in front of him. Meanwhile, I see that Varani is overtaking Lopez for the lead coming down the front straightaway. They're getting around a lap car who politely pulls out of the way. Oh, and Varani has a moment. Both Varani and Lopez managed to hold on to it. Incredibly, Bootaloo avoids them both, and this brings Vaughn back into the mix, who's going to go by Lopez on the inside of 3, just sneaks up in there. Holy crap, Sam. I can't believe both those guys held on to those slides. Those were some fast slides.
Yeah, I thought it was game over, but less than 2 laps left, and this is what it's become, and they can't let Jeremy Bootaloo run away with it. This is really the first time that Jeremy has gotten to lead today, and Robert Simpkins in that red and black car, lap down in the background, probably thinking, I hope I don't get caught up in this, Joe.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, man, guys got to have a heart attack after letting them by and seeing that unfold in front of him as Vaughn is getting squeezed. Whoa, and there's contact between Lopez and Vaughn as he needs some space and has to force his way back onto the track. And now Vaughn was on the inside but loses out coming around turn 6. It is really getting touch and go at this point, Sean.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, as they came up on old Robert Simpkins there, poor guy down in the field, I really wondered what kind of role he was going to play into that battle, and he moves over and they still all get out of shape going into the turn.
Well, even the best are at their limit today, as Sam mentioned before. Jeremy Bootaloo currently holding the lead. Lap 16 of 17, they're going to get the white flag this time by. We heard there is a solo accident that Mack had back in the pack. So Trevor Mack, I guess, is possibly at a bad spot in the race for himself. And he's rejoined with a new car, we understand, so he must have had a fairly decent accident. Bootaloo continues to lead up at the front. Vaughn holds on to second. Lopez in third as they come towards Canada Corner, and Varani pulling up the back of that 4-car pack, Sam.
I think you're gonna want to be in first or second coming out of a final turn on the final lap, but How many overtaking opportunities are there, lap? Where do you want to be taking this white flag in order to win this race? I'm sure these drivers have a better idea of that than what we do. We're about to find out. Jeremy Bootloo is about to lead Kevin Vaughan, Ade Lopez and Luca Varani across the line, taking the white flag. Next time around will be the checkered. Jeremy's in the lead at this point, but we'll find out in 4 miles who gets the big prize, Joe.
And currently Vaughn has taken his slipstream up the inside. It looks like they're going to go 3 wide. Lopez is going to try and go in the middle. Now Vaughn moves over to try and put his car in front of his. Still, Lopez has the inside of turn 1 on Bootaloo. Bootaloo goes wide, puts a couple wheels in the dirt, still holds onto it. They're still side by side, coming to 3. This is it. This is where it all comes down to as these guys battle for first, Sam.
Yeah, Luca Varani is kind of not in the place he wants to be right now. He's in 4th, letting Kevin escape. If there's contact in front of him, there's no way he can go. He's going to make it 3 wide. Why not? It's the final lap. Oh, boy, look at this, Sean. Who do you think is going to come out on top?
Really hard to say. It could be anybody's race at this point. They're so close. Here's another battle. 3 wide, back into the turn. Here we go. Who's going to win? Oh, there we go.
Lopez is around. Lopez is around. Varani is tipped out. And it looks like Bootaloo comes out okay, but Vaughn has a bit of a gap on him. If he can scamper away, this could be the race.
That's what it came down to, Joe. Bootaloo, unless Vaughan makes a mistake, I don't think he has the draft anymore. I think this is Kevin Vaughan's race.
Meanwhile, Varani is able to gather himself together. He's still got 3rd, but he's under threat from Christopher Dam, who, after being in 5th before, could move himself up into the podium at the very last lap. Jumping back up to Vaughn, he's got a fair gap back to Bootaloo. I think you're right. If Bootaloo has any damage, this is it. This is the finish.
Hey guys, Kevin Brown's got a chance at the top 10 here. He's all over the bumper of Patsy Canada. It's really close. He's trying to make a move on him right now.
And as we watch that battle, I'm keeping half an eye on the front. It looks like Vaughn is continuing to get away, so let's hold on to this battle between Kanata and Brown. And going into the hurried downs, there's not much going on between them. I do know that it was very close between Dam and Varani, so let's hop back up there. It looks like Dam's going to try and take a look on Varani coming into Canada corner. Varani takes the defensive line, leaves just enough room. Dam doesn't quite have enough to get on the outside of him, and that's it. Meanwhile, let's hop back up with Vaughn, who comes around that left-hander. It's got one more corner to it, and this huge 60 car field out of 1 in 60 in his chances. It looks like Vaughn is going to be able to come away with it, Sam, as he comes to the line.
Kevin Vaughan is going to take a victory here at Road America today, but I don't know who's going to get 3rd still. It's Luca Varani right now. Let's see, it's a climb to the top of the hill. Christopher Dam behind, he's going to pull out now. They're side by side. Who gets it? I can't tell.
It's Varani by a hair. Less than a 1/10 of a second. Varani just beat Dam. He gave it his best, but wow, was that a close one. Kevin Vaughan once again takes the win. Jeremy Bootaloo in 2nd. Luca Varani 3rd. Christopher Dam comes home 4th. Very well earned. Lopez manages to collect himself for 5th. Clark Williams, a respectable 6th. Dan Rash, a quiet 7th. Does a really good job there. Manzini gets his car up into 8th. Then Nigel Baines in 9th. Rounding out the top 10, it's Patsy Canada and Kevin Brown just outside of it at 11th, Sam.
Yes, and in 12th place we had Richard Drenson. Rod Silverwood came home in 13th. All these names that we really didn't unfortunately get a chance to talk about. Lino Chestan in 14th place. Ed Rice 15th. Adam Bradshaw in 16th position. 17th was Chuck Johnson. Sergio Paramo in 18th. Sergio Alvarez in 19th. And Justin Johnson in 20th, Sean.
And looks like we had Trevor Mack in 21st, Patrick Ferrero in 22nd, Steve Tingle in 23rd, John Burrows 24th, Zlatko Nezavec in 25th, Kevin Riley in 26th.
I believe actually some of these positions are still in contention, as we see actually John Burrows is coming across the line now. In fact, he's just passing Zlatko is passing John Burrows for that position. So things are still being sorted out.
Yes, you are correct. Looks like they just finished their laps.
So real quick, I want to hop through that 20th on down as guys are completing that. Justin Johnson, as Sean mentioned, is in 20th. Trevor Mack took home 21st. Steve Tingle in 22nd. Zlatko Nezevec in 23rd. John Burrows in 24th. Giovanni Soletto in 25th. Patrick Farrow took home 26th after what was not the race he hoped for. Jerry Burkaki in 27th. Kevin Riley in 28th. Nathan Brown 29th. And Ed Filek in 30th, Sean.
Yeah, and there's still cars coming across. They're still trying to finish up this race. Looks like Christian Kroza in 31st, Radu Kostin in 32nd. Jasper Grunwig looks like he finished in 34th. Tim, I skipped 33rd with Tim Hoer there.
Then behind him, Angelo Farino takes 35th. Then we've got Brian Stromquist in 36th after he was very high up earlier on. An accident sent him down, but he's still on the lead lap, amazingly. Peter Bezak in 37th, and the last car on the lead lap. Then from then on down, it looks like cars that ran into trouble. Nasso Charlampu in 38th. Robert Simpkins in 39th. Matthew Sabowski in 40th. Then David Grassi in 41st, Arn Kramer in 42nd, Luca Argretti in 43rd, Rick James in 44th. We'll avoid that joke that's obvious at that point. Robert Lathrop in 45th, JB Masada 46th, Minas Siklis in 47th, Kenny Coughlin in 48th. 49th was Wolfgang Rockbauer after such a good race running into trouble. And 50th is Moreno Bertani. Sam?
Yeah, and by the way, the guy in 47th, Minus Situlis, wins the rollover award, flipped over 4 times in the accident in turn 1 that we didn't catch. Andrew Taylor, 51st, Michael Fraser, 52nd, Gary Colson, 53rd, Michael Chase, 54th, Zachary Rivard, 55th, Sean.
Yeah, and from 55th back, we've got Mac Backham, Amjed Yamin, Dominic Brennan in 58th, 59th, Robert Podgorny, and in 60th, rounding out the 60-car field, Ricardo P. Silva.
And that's your field after 17 laps around Road America for the Week 13 race. This has been an exciting one, guys. I believe we're heading off to break, judging by the music coming up. And I'm checking with our director to see if we're going to do interviews post-race. We're getting a maybe on that, so hopefully we can gather some people up. If you're watching the broadcast post-race, please come and talk to us. It's been an exciting one. We'd love to hear some on-track views. But we're going to go to break. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. You just witnessed the Week 13 Spec Racer Ford race at Road America, and boy, was it a hectic one. It was very crazy. We've actually got a couple people worth talking to here. Well, everyone's worth talking to because everybody just had incredible battles all the way up and down, but most notably, we have Luca Varani in here, and Luca had a finish up into third place, so a podium finish, which is excellent. Luca, it seemed like it was pretty crazy between you top four. Were you guys trying to work together at all, or was it every man for himself?
I was actually trying to work with other guys. I was worried about Christopher coming back from behind. I know Chris is a fast guy. He's in our league. But the guys up front actually were battling it out pretty badly. Koba and Kevin were really fighting hard.
What was going through your mind when you guys came down the Moraine sweep towards turn 5 and you were 3 wide on the last lap? Were you getting kind of anxious that something was about to go down?
I think it was just great, actually. I thought about lifting and just sitting back, but it was much more fun to try for it. I guess it was good for the TV coverage.
I guess a bit of an Ayrton approach to it, Ayrton Senna approach to just got to go for that gap. Well, thanks for giving us an awesome product, because I believe you were the one who organized all of this. Is that correct?
I was one of the organizers, sure, but a lot of people helped. Gianni Celito especially, Steve Tingle helped, and just about everybody who joined, really. I think it was a great event. I'm eager to watch the replay.
Well, you gave us an awesome product, and thank you for coming and talking to us.
Thank you.
Well, Sam, we also have Kevin Brown, who had a pretty good race through this thing. Would you like to talk to Kevin?
Yeah, hi Kevin. Wow, you started a bit further back than you would have liked, but you pulled off an 11th place finish despite an incident. How would you rate your race?
Well, you kind of said it. I started way far back. I had a miserable qualifying run, but I kept the car pretty clean and had a great run with Wolfgang and Patrick, and just barely missed Patrick when he spun in the kink. I don't know how I didn't get collected with him. And then unfortunately Wolfgang spun and I kind of tapped him a little bit and it broke my right front, and from there I just tried to limp it on home. So that 11th place I'm pretty stoked with.
We saw a few big incidents during this race. However, you got a piece of one of them. But honestly, it was a much more cleaner, much more exciting race than what I anticipated. How was racing in general as you worked your way up through the field, but in the cockpit?
Well, there were some times where it felt like I was in the middle of a war zone because there were cars just flying off the track left and right. But for the most part, what I saw was really close, really hard, fair racing. And, that was a lot of fun to be around.
Anything else you'd like to say? Sponsors you'd like to thank?
Well, definitely thanks to Luca for putting this on and for GSRC for putting on what I'm sure was a great broadcast.
And thank you very much. I'll hand it back to Joe.
Well, we definitely got a race that we wanted, an incredibly exciting race. Sean, what are your thoughts on how this thing went down?
Well, we were talking about it in the break. I was really surprised at the lack of carnage and what a great race we had up and down the field. Lots of pack racing and lots of exciting battles for position. Some guys who really, really came from deep in the field to come way up. Clark Williams, Christian Manzini, Patsy Canada, our own Kevin Brown, Richard Jensen, Rod Silverwood, Lino Chestang. Hats off to those guys for just a wonderful race. It was really exciting. Really cool to see that many cars on the track at once.
It looks like we have one more person who wants to come and talk, and he was the winner of the race, actually, so I'd say he's worth talking to. Let's pull Kevin Vaughn into the booth and get a word with him. Kevin Vaughn, it was one hell of a race. It looked like you top four had a great battle throughout. Did you expect to be able to come away with it at the end like that? Because it seemed like you really kind of dodged a bullet.
No, not until I saw it was like 3 wide on the final straight right there.
We talked a little bit to Luca about the tactics and whether or not people were trying to work together. I know Luca said, excuse me, that he was trying to work with some people. Were you trying to work with anybody up at the top? Did you try to partner with anyone?
I tried to follow Koba a little bit, Adekoba, but we weren't really pulling away. There was not much of a point. The main thing was not trying to do many stupid overtake moves when there were people right behind us. Not wreck. Wait till the last lap to do anything stupid anyway.
Well, you qualified on the front row and managed to move that one position up to the top. As qualifying was going down, it seemed like places were swapping all over. How did you manage to get that 2:39 lap? Did you have a draft to help you, or was that all on your own?
Oh yeah, I did. I think I was about 2/10 slower without a draft, and then I was driving around with a friend trying to show him who wasn't up to speed. But after I gave him a few laps and he got up to speed, he's a pretty quick guy. I started following him, and I got one decent lap out of it anyway.
Well, it seems to have paid off in spades. Thanks for coming and talking to us. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or sponsors you'd like to mention?
Well, I think Amjad, he was the guy who helped me draft in the qualifying, and after he wrecked out early, he gave me some spotting help. So thanks, Amjad. Helped out.
Good to see fellow racers helping each other that much. Thanks for coming and talking to us, Kevin.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Well, Sam, now that I can get to you for your thoughts, didn't expect Kevin to be hopping into their verse, but I'm glad that we got to talk to the winner. Sam, what are your thoughts on this crazy race?
Well, I have a few regrets, Joe. My first regret is being a bit speechless when the third place finish went across the line and I didn't know who the call was victor. Obviously it was Luca Varani by 0.014 seconds. My other regret is not buying a ticket or not being a participant in this race, because I'll tell you, if I had been at Road America, I would have sat in the grandstands or got on the steering wheel, because that was something else. I had everything you wanted. I had a clean start, couple major incidents, very good races with very hard, clean racing up front, white flag with us having no clue who was going to come and take the checkers in first place, and really just, that's the great thing about 60 cars at a track like this. You're always going to have a battle somewhere on the track. There was always plenty to talk about, plenty to watch, and I hope it was as fun for those 60 drivers as what it was for us.
Well, I know I was certainly impressed and personally wowed by some of the car control that we saw, and that's why we got some of the best drivers around in this SRF to come out for this race. It really was a great event, as you said, and just really impressed me all around. But before we go, we want to give some quick thank yous, and first of all, thank you obviously to Luca Varani and everyone else who helped organize this thing. That was a huge endeavor, and it paid off. Also, thank you to the software and hardware that we use, which is iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio-Technica, and AverMedia. Thank you to the GSRC team, Sam, Sean. Also behind the scenes, we had Ayrton spotting for us. We had Stefan Overgaard spotting for us. And of course, thank you to Giancarlo Lenzi for taking the time to be director today. If you'd like to find out more about the Global Sim Racing channel, you can find us at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, where we have race archives and race highlights that you can watch. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, and we're on Facebook at facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. Thanks to Eric Ekholm. You can find his music not only here on GSRC, but on TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you like our music, tell him you heard it at ericekholm.com. Our next race is coming less than a week from now. The next race is the Blondies race, which will be at Lime Rock Chicane. It's going to be an exciting one, and that'll kick off at 2 p.m. Eastern. Hope we'll see you there. Until next time, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.